Good morning, guys. It's the Canyon Carver, and it's a beautiful Saturday morning, and I'd very much love to be taking one of these cars, but for a couple reasons, I will not be today. It's absolutely scorching hot, and unfortunately, the 911 has a little mechanical issue. So, I will be using the Blackwing today, and I'm really excited to use my new Insta360 Go Ultra video setup here. So join me for a ride. We're gonna talk about this car a little bit. Let's get this thing on. Absolutely wake up every single neighbor. Now, one thing that's pretty cool about this car is it does have a lot of different exhaust setups. So like, for example, when I'm in my mode, you can actually keep it in stealth mode, which keeps the car as quiet as possible. You know, it still barks at startup, but really not that bad. All right, let's get out of this garage without hitting something. So one thing that's pretty neat about this camera setup is it gives me flexibility to shoot either vertically or horizontally. Right now I have it set up kind of in a compromise mode. And basically it allows for me through software to crop the video for vertical or horizontal. Now, there are modes where I can mount the camera, you know, vertically or horizontally, and I can optimize for either vertically or horizontal content. You know, obviously that's limiting. And I'm hoping that this mode that I have it in right now will give me that flexibility for both vertical or horizontal content. So that's something that I haven't been able to do with the Meta Ray-Bans. They really only do vertical content. So I'm getting onto the freeway here. Gonna avoid all the traffic on PCH and just get straight to the fun roads. And I really love this car on the open road. It just is happy, and this is my daily driver, so 99% of the time I'm just sitting in traffic in it and getting 10 miles per gallon, which isn't ideal. Prius going 20 miles per hour is also not ideal. You know what I'd really love to be able to do with this car is go on a really big road trip. And yes, fuel economy won't be the very best, but it's really where this car is in its element. Just on the open road, not a lot of traffic, in between Arizona and California, somewhere out in the boonies, and where you have a big straight rip of road and you just send it. However, a misconception with this car, because it has a similar power plant to, let's say, a Dodge Demon or something, this car actually can handle, I don't think everyone realizes this, but it's based on the Omega platform, which is, it's really a four-door version of the Camaro ZL1 1LE, which is, by the way, one of the best sports cars I have ever driven. Magnificent car. But that car doesn't do great on the road because it has like 315 front tires and it kind of tram lines all over the place. You know, it's a compromised car and more of a track weapon than a street car. So this car manages to like balance all those things. You get basically this 700 horsepower V8 manual transmission, wonderful suspension, great chassis dynamics, huge brakes, but it's really a wolf in sheep's clothing, which is really kind of a wonderful thing for a lot of people. So much torque. It's sick. You know, it's something I've observed for a long time, is to me, there's no better indicator that someone is not good at driving than someone who doesn't use their turning signals. Really, that's all. That's one of the #1 indicators. I just saw a truck basically was in the fast lane, left the fast lane, and then cut with inches to spare without a turning signal. And instantly in my brain, I'm like, that's not a good driver. What do you think? Back to the car, because that's really why you're here. Just on the freeway right now. And you have to remember, this is really like an M5 competitor. And so it feels so luxurious in this cabin. And what I mean by that is it's super well sound insulated. You could whisper if you had a passenger here. Tremendous torque and passing power. I'm gonna just drop it down a few gears here. Say I want to get around this guy. I mean, that was 95 right there. Just, you know, one quick blip of the throttle and you're out of there. It's a tremendous amount of power. Obviously, I know, you know, any Tesla is probably faster than this thing, but you know, because it's got a manual transmission, this is not, I guess, a beginner-friendly fast car. You see most of the young kids opting to get M3s and M2s and stuff. You don't see young kids driving CT5V Blackwings. I don't really know why that is the case. I guess this car just doesn't have the same hype around it, which is exactly what I was looking for. I don't want a car that the broccoli hair children are looking for. I want the complete opposite. So if that makes me an old man, that's fine. But this car is it's the definition of a sleeper. There really aren't that many sleepers left in the world. You know, BMW used to be the masters, Mercedes too, of creating just an understated super sedan that went under the radar. I'm sorry, if you see the new M5, you don't think sleeper, you think beluga whale. It's just disgusting. Oh, it's so good. You know, frankly, in this car, I pretty much always just leave the auto blipping on. One thing I have noticed is heel toe in this car is a little tricky. Now, this car has brake-by-wire. Some people really complain about the system. I think it's pretty good, but a lot of that is because I'm coming from a quadrifoglio, which, as you may or may not know, has horrible brake feel, in my opinion, especially at slow speeds. But back to the heel toe, the brake pedal is very hard and very sensitive, and I have trouble modulating it and hitting that gas pedal with the, you know, side of my foot. So I tend to actually just leave it in this rev matching setting. And you know, the way I look at it, this is the easiest car I have to drive. I only have manual transmissions, and it's kind of nice in just stop and go traffic to just be able to use it. I also feel like it's probably going to save the life of this clutch, because it certainly is doing a rev match infinitely better than I could ever do. Does that make me not a purist? Maybe, but give me a break. 3 manual cars, want one that's just not that hard. Another thing that has to be discussed when talking about this car is the mag ride, the magnificent mag ride. GM was really a pioneer of this technology. I don't know if a startup or something developed it and they acquired it, whatever, I don't really know. But GM's mag ride system is so good that Ferrari licenses it and puts it in their cars. That should say something. What is mag ride? And I'm not going to be able to explain this as well as others, but my understanding of it is each shock is filled with a fluid that has magnetic particles in it. And in order to control the dampening, there's an electric current that's sent through that reservoir of fluid, and basically based off how much current, it will basically either make the car tighter or softer. Now I have a button here, it's this V, and it's basically going to put the car in full kill mode just like that. So I'm going to do that, and instantly the ride is rock hard. You know, I have it in this track mode. Holy crap. Like, it's so, look how bouncy it is. Maybe you can't see, but if you were sitting here, you would be like, oh my God, that's a humongous difference. Now I'm going to press it again, and it puts it back into touring. Actually, that just turns off traction control. There we go. Now I'm back into touring mode, and it's as luxurious as like a base 5 Series, you know, or even probably softer. So It's really an amazing bit of technology, and it's one of the selling points for these cars. The other thing that I just love about it is the fact that I have these beautiful bucket seats. They're super supportive. They look amazing, yet they're massaging and heated and cooled. Now that is pretty luxurious if you ask me. I have zero complaints about bolstering, and in fact I can actually adjust the bolstering in this car to hug me even more. But right now I have it kind of in a street setup. I don't need it to hug me. I'm not on a racetrack. But when we get into the canyons, I'll probably cinch it up a little bit. Also, before we hit the canyons, I'm gonna need gasoline because we have half a tank, and that's 100 miles. So we're gonna have to do that also. Listen to how sharp those downshifts are. I can get thrown in a second right now. Gearing is so tall in this car. Oh, and I don't even have it in the track exhaust mode right now. This car is so loud. All right, so I just did my little fill up. Now it says I've got 216 miles of range with a full tank, and that's definitely not true. But listen, no car is perfect. I want to discuss a few things that are not perfect. I mean, the first thing is fuel economy is pretty atrocious. I think my lifetime fuel economy for 3,700 miles here is 11. Yeah, 11 miles per gallon. Now I have not very good driving conditions. I live in West LA, which has pretty horrific traffic, but regardless, very bad. The other thing, I'm not crazy about it. One of the reasons I like this facelift was this new infotainment system has a lot to like about it. From a daily standpoint, I understand maybe aesthetically it's not the best looking thing in the world, but there's a lot of data that this thing has. It uses an Android Auto or an Android native system, and it has Apple and Android Auto. This is like my boost and power and all that stuff. But this car has over-the-air updates, and like Teslas and all these other cars. This car has had multiple updates pushed to my car, and it's like, do you want to do an update? And every single time I say, yes, do the update, and it never works. Never. It's never worked, and it's maybe pushed this notification to me, which I can't silence, by the way, like 100 times, and it's really annoying. So every time I turn off the car and it says, do you want to do the update? It just reminds me that that's pretty annoying, that it's a brand new car and it can't do one of the features that it's supposed to be able to do. Is that the end of the world? Certainly not, but it does bother me. Another thing I don't like, which is so bizarre, but this is a facelift car. So in 2025, automatic cars got Super Cruise, which is a fantastic self-driving system. Pretty cool that it comes standard on the automatic cars. However, what happened in 2025 for the manual transmission cars is they got rid of blind spot indicators on the side mirror. So this is a $100,000 car that doesn't have blind spot indicators, and that's kind of whack. The mirrors are also very aerodynamically shaped, so yeah, really not ideal. All right, well, we're now on Mulholland Highway here, which is like kind of my testing ground for all of my cars and other people's cars. This is right near where I hold Canyon Cars and Coffee. Let's get after it a little bit. Not crazy, we're on the street, but we'll get after it a little bit. So right now, I have the car in my mode. I have the car in sport for suspension, track for exhaust, and traction control I have full on. Let's actually dial that back a little bit. So that's wet, dry, sport. No, I don't want to do race. Race is scary. We're gonna do sport. So much torque. Gearing is exceptionally tall in this car, so we're in second gear now. That goes at 82 miles per hour. And we have reached traffic. Wow, they actually pulled over. That's super nice. Now, I'm not feeling much body roll at all in the sport setting, but I'm gonna actually go ahead and put it in full track mode. Yeah, that is almost 80 miles per hour in second gear. This car also has no lift shift, which is pretty bananas. Wow. And we, of course, reach the bicyclists that are riding next to each other, which is asinine. Yeah, this car rocks. It's pretty damn good. That was a no lift shift there. Maybe not the best one in the world, but yeah, pretty wild. It's a wolf in sheep's clothing, immensely capable. There's a Haggerty video where this thing goes up against an M5 CS, which is automatic, and this car had the manual transmission, and it was faster, and it's more fun, and it sounds better, and I don't know, looks are subjective. I think this car is pretty handsome. It doesn't really look great in photos, and that's because you can't really get a sense for how wide it is, and the color matters a lot too. This car is in a super subtle color, and therefore you can't really tell how wide it is. So I'm going to get out of the car and we'll actually take a peek around the car and we'll look at it. All right, so we're basically at this beautiful park here, and this is where we actually host Canyon Cars and Coffee, and this is just a nice spot because I'm able to park up a certain number of cars here, and we're able to hang out. Old places across the street, we'll walk over there in a second, but most importantly, it gives me a place to just chill and take a look at this car. So let's go over it. So here's the exterior of the car. As you can see, it's on camera, it just looks kind of plain Jane, but there are these pretty wide front arches or haunches here. It has two 75/35 19s in the front and 305/30 19s in the rear. And there's a bit of a wide body going on at the back as well. I really love the quad exhaust tips on this car. They're actually real and they sound magnificent. The trunk space in this car is, you know, pretty damn good. Could easily put a body or two in there. And let's take a look at the interior. These are these seats I was talking about. They're just beautiful. They're beautiful. Diamond stitched, air conditioned and heated and massaging. The screen there, you know, doesn't look incredible when it's off, but I'm telling you, when you're driving it every day, it gives you a lot of information. Beautiful lighting in this car. Nice big panoramic sunroof. It's actually two partitions there. And let's take a look at the goods underneath the hood. I'm not a huge fan of this wheel design. You know, when they get dirty, they just don't look that great, but I will likely get some new wheels when it's time for some new tires. And there she is, the LT4, tried and true. I'm chuckling because they did have some issues with this motor when it was in the C7 Z06, but they have figured them out for this car. This is a 6.2 liter pushrod V8, a lot of fancy titanium and special metals in this motor, and big old supercharger on top. Makes, I think, 668 horsepower, a little bit less torque, and it's really a powerhouse. It's a wonderful engine, makes a great sound. I would actually say that it sounds a bit like my W204 C63. One thing I would love is for a little bit more supercharger sound coming out of the in the interior, but it's a nice classy sedan, so you can really only hear that supercharger whine from outside the car. Another thing that I always talk about with this car is how much cooling there is. It's truly incredible. There's a, can't really see it, a radiator in there, radiator there, radiator here, oil coolers, transmission coolers, diff coolers, just big old radiator. They really got the cooling down for this car, and that was a challenge that they had with the C7 Z06. They really figured it out for this car. And one thing that's challenging about a car that's as powerful as this is finding a good place to actually drive it. We have a tunnel here. Unreal. It is just so fast. What a car. But in just such short periods of time, you get into you're just going really fast for the street. I would love to do a track day with this car. It would be a little hard on consumables. After all, it is still a 4,100 pound car or something like that. But hey, that's a solid 2,000 pounds less than the new M5. So guess it could be worse. That is certainly not a track car anymore. This car actually comes with some accessories for the track. I don't know why I said some. The only one I'm aware of actually are these special brake ducts that you install at the dealership, and then you can align it and you're ready for track duty. Second gear is all you need in these canyons. Oh, nice. Oh, a bunch of Elises. What the hell? Why didn't I get the memo? Well, they're braver men than me. I was too hot for me to drive my Elise today. These roads are so narrow. Yeah, it's just, and this is a pretty wide car to begin with. This is really fun. The Elise is wonderful for these sort of situations. I don't know why you're beeping at me. This car is really capable. We're really just, you know, not even scratching the surface of what this car can do. But this is probably the most technical road I've taken the car on, and it feels really good. Brakes feel sharp. Turn-in is good. I'm sure this car would really benefit from a spicy alignment. But turn-in is great. Here's where things get really tight. Wow. The only thing rattling around is my phone. Let's put that somewhere. This car is literally the width of this road. I mean, look how well that turns around. Big rock. It's pretty impressive. It's so much torque, it just rockets out of the corner in a second. Really amazing. And you can downshift into first with that auto rev match. What a car, man. Truly is so nimble for such a big car. I'm so impressed by it. It's hard to convey speed with a wide-angle lens and driving in a well-insulated car, but see the car in front of us, that's the speed most people will drive on this road, you know, about 20 miles per hour. Massive cut of the mustard there. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of that unless you're trying to avoid pedestrians or bicyclists. But yeah, we're going 20 miles per hour. Huge opportunity for them to pull over. You know, they won't do it. And we'll get to one of my favorite topics here right now. So, because this guy won't pull over, what happens is enthusiasts get anxious, and they're like, I want to get around this person. So what they end up doing eventually is passing over the double yellow, which can lead to an incident. You know, bicyclists coming the wrong way. This is a very tight road. It's not safe, even if I felt like it was safe, to pass this guy over the double yellow. And the law is that you are to yield to faster traffic. Now, there is a caveat to that law here in California, and that is that they have to be holding up 5 cars. But who cares about the law here? This is just about, you know, common decency here. If there's a car behind you and they're right on your tail, everyone's day could be made better if they just pull over. I've now flashed my lights. They know I'm here. I mean, it's a huge car. You know, they have sped up slightly, but it's like, come on, just pull over, get me out of your rearview mirror. You're cutting the mustard just to go 25 miles per hour. It would certainly make the world a better place if they just pulled over. Just go the other direction. I know there are bicyclists everywhere on this road, so we will take it easy. My car has the standard steel brakes. A pretty expensive, but maybe worth it option are the carbon ceramics. I bought this car off the showroom floor, and it basically had no options. The only option it had were the bucket seats and the sunroof. Do I regret not having the carbon ceramics? No. Especially if I am to do a track day or two, it would be preferable to probably have the steels anyways, just cheaper maintenance. But there is one option I kind of wish this car had, and that is the data recorder. It's a really cool bit of technology. And I would be able to record my canyon and track sessions, which would be pretty cool. This mag ride is just amazing. Right now I'm in full track and it's still soaking up the majority of these bumps. It's not a super smooth road. It is so narrow here that in these corners you really have to be aware if, you know, the other person is staying in their lane, or you'll get into trouble at mid-corner. I mean, look at this bicyclist just all over the road. Canyons are made much more dangerous with bicyclists on them, I'll tell you that. Like, yo, man. Ridiculous. You know, I thought that this car wouldn't be that fun on a road this technical, and it totally is. If you were a better driver than me and less responsible, you could turn the traction control way down and be drifting this thing around this whole road here, but I will not be doing that. Again, lots of bicyclists that are going to be coming this way. When bicyclists are coming the opposite direction, I really try not to floor it. Just really spooks them. This car is so loud. Brakes feel incredible. Great brakes. There are cops on these roads sometimes, so we'll be cognizant of that. One thing that's funny in this car, when you're driving it hard, you can literally see the gas gauge go down while you're driving. Fuel efficiency ain't one of its strong points. God, what a car, man. Really is so capable. Oh, there's a GR86 that fell victim to a canyon accident, it appears. Oh man, that's rough. Damn. Airbags deployed. Really messed up. Sorry, buddy. Oh man, they're in the car. Poor guys. Hey, it can happen to anyone. Yeah. Car's really quick. That should surprise no one. I'm just pretty. I'm left kind of speechless with this car. I'm so amazed. This is my daily, and I feel just super fortunate to have it. It's an absolute monster. I think it's a really, really, really special car. It's going to go down in history as one of the better four-door sedans of this era. You know, of course, there are people that love the E39, the E63s, all those sort of cars, but this is a car that's being offered in 2025 with a supercharged V8 and a freaking manual transmission, and not a bad manual transmission like what's in the current M3 and M4. Like, that transmission is mush. It's so bad you might as well have the ZF automatic. This car has has a Tremec, and it's bulletproof and incredible. People make over 1,000 horsepower out of these cars pretty easily and utilize the same transmission. It's an impressive platform, and we'll end this video with a little tunnel pull. How about that? Well, it's been a fun journey with you guys. It's the Canyon Carver. Please follow me on Instagram, follow my new YouTube channel, and if you subscribe to my Instagram page, I will teach you how to drive a manual transmission. Have a good day, guys.